Hello there. Today I'm going to be putting together a budget PC. Well, making the parts. And yeah, that's let's get into the video. Roll the intro if I didn't already do it and accidentally forgot to do this. Hi, if I accidentally forgot to cut that out.
Yeah, I'm not cutting that out. Sorry about your luck, buddy. Nah, don't do an intro. Please don't. This is the intro. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Probably put the mouse on the right screen. So we're gonna do Amazon's computer niceness. And since I already picked out the GPU I want, we're not gonna start with a CPU like I normally do. We're gonna start out with the 1050 Ti, which is right here. And we'll stick with the super clocked. Well, should we? Yeah, because these are all more expensive and they're not even super clocked. So let's stick with this one. I made the list to the default this time, so I don't have to wait for the page to load. And then, let's go back. So then, now we're gonna go do the motherboard, then, or CPU, then motherboard. And a CPU I tend to like is, well, not CPU. The CPU company I like for budget builds is and not AMD, but AMD, because they tend to have a lot more budget CPUs, and that's why AMD fans tend to like them. So we're not going to go with like this. What I'm looking for is something that's in the $80 to $120 range. So I think the 860K or the 880K or 880 is what I want to go with. And I think the 880 is actually newer. So let's do the 880. 880. I think that's an FM2. Yes, it is. Right there, FM2. And what I like about this CPU is it's a true quad core instead of a dual core with hyper-threading. And a dual core with hyper-threading makes it act like it has 4 cores, but really it still only has 2. But this one has a real quad core, you'll see. And it's a 4.2 gigahertz boost speed and a 4 gigahertz base frequency. And you'll see this requires a DGPU or a discrete GPU, which means it needs a separate GPU, which in this case is a 1050 Ti. Or 1050 if you want to save $50 after we're done with this. And it supports DDR3 RAM. That's all good. You don't need DDR4. And another thing I like about this one is you should be able to overclock it fairly well. And as it's already at 4 gigahertz, you might even be able to hit the 4.5 gigahertz, or if you're really lucky, the 6 gigahertz range. Or not 6, 5 gigahertz range, because AMD tends to have good coolers, and if it can't reach that because it's getting too hot, you can always upgrade to like I think it's a Hyper Evo, whatever it is, but in this case it comes with I forget what it's called. It says right here, 125W thermal solution, which is a silent fan, well, almost silent. AMD has a video on their site. So yeah. Did we add this to the list? No. There. And then I'm not gonna, well, actually I probably should get the calculator up. There. And we'll duplicate this tab. Go to lists. And 450 PC. So what would we say? 450? 450 minus 91.87, and then minus 9.87. Yep. 0.99. Which then gets us to $208 for case, RAM, power supply, and what's the other thing? Drive. That it? And we might be able to actually do an SSD too. SSD and what's that called? SSD and a hard drive, mechanical drive. So that we have $208. So and motherboard. I forgot the motherboard. So I like this motherboard, but I don't want to do that one. So we need DDR3 because that's what the CPU is compatible with. Should we do micro ATX? Yeah. And then let's see. We want SATA 3, but most motherboards are going to already come with that. Let's just check it anyway. We also want USB 3. Socket type. Socket. AMD, and then we might get the socket. Yep. FM2 and FM2 Plus are backwards compatible in case anyone was wondering. Usually. See. I don't like that one. That costs way too much. I want to do that one. I've never heard of that company. That's why. I know this is that motherboard I said I didn't want, but I don't necessarily have much other option. Or is it this one? Too many motherboards. These are the exact same thing. Aren't they? F2A68. Yeah, these are the same thing. Why is this one $10 less? That's a retail. I'm not sure why that would make it cost so much more. But, moving on. This is the exact same one, isn't it? Why? Why are there so many of the same thing? Okay, we might actually have to go with this motherboard. Although, I do like the motherboard itself. It's a nice motherboard. It's a very basic motherboard, but you'll see. It's got 2 RAM slots, FM2 thing. You should be able to tell that. Then it appears we have 2 USB 2.0, 4 USB 2.0, and 2 USB 3.0. I don't know what the pink one is, but or no, pink and green are. Pink is microphone, I think. Green is sound. Then blue, I'm not sure. Then it's got Ethernet. Then we don't really need these since we're doing the other ports. I think that's a 20 plus 4 pin power connector. Let's go back to this one. It would appear we have 4 SATA 3 things. Then we have a PCI Express 16X. Then we have a PCI Rev 1. So basically basic PCI. Then we have, oh, that's not PCI Express, is it? No, this one's just PCI. And this one's PCI Express, I think. Yeah. And then it would appear we have a couple fan headers right here, or maybe that's USB. It's kind of hard to tell. And then, yeah, this looks like a good motherboard. Let's add that to the list. Go back. That one is $56.99 minus 56.99. 151.15. How long have we been going? 8 minutes. Okay. I like making these videos. That's why I'm doing them, I suppose. But should we do RAM now? Then we'll do hard drives. Yeah. So I think we're gonna go with an 8 gig stick. Let's see, that's a 16 gig, but can I actually just get a single? Because, yeah, that's what I want. Or is the 4, that's a 4 gig. Here, let's see if this one's cheaper. No, that one's more expensive. Let's check the high density, that's probably going to be 2, yeah. So let's do the single 8 gig stick, because then what you have is the option to upgrade to a 16 gigabytes of RAM if you just order another one of these, or get like something like this one here. Add to list. Okay, calculator. Minus 46.99. That brings us down to $104 for hard drive and power supply. End case. That's going to be hard to do, because a 1 terabyte Western Digital Blue hard drive is $50-ish, I think. Last time I checked. Or we could do an SSHD, I think. It's like a hybrid drive, in other words. But I don't like those, they annoy me. Let's just do an internal hard drive. Then you can always upgrade to a mechanical hard drive in the future. So this is all we need here, I think. SATA 3, I saw it was a 6 gigabyte per second. And yeah, and if you really want to, I suppose you could upgrade to downgrade. What? Logic. What? It's 11 cents cheaper. It makes no sense. Okay. That's totally logical. Here, okay. Let's go over here, calculator. So we already subtract 49.99. That means we have $54.17 for a case and power supply. And we have to add this to the list. Let's see. Crush this one too. Should have a lot more things now. Yes, it does. Okay, can I actually add this to my cart? Dang it. So I might have to... Yeah, you know what I mean. Okay. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to go here. I said here. No? Maybe? No? 1,000+ answered questions on a hard drive, really? So, we want a... Okay. Let's do a power supply first. Now, I might go for a bronze power supply like this one. Now, judging by... How much is that? So, I think... that's way too much. I'm trying to calculate the wattage. Because I know the... what's that thing? 1050 Ti draws from the motherboard. And it only needs a 300 watt power supply. So this would leave us with $20 for a case if we got this one. Let's see. That's a lot for a power. Oh, it's 1,000 watt, fully modular. 80+ gold. Okay, that's understandable. Or could we find a power supply plus case combo? No. I don't like Rosewool. It's 80+ bronze, but seriously, $61. So I think we only need 400 to 500 watts. Let's click that. I don't trust that one at all. Let's see. I don't want to spend that much because then we'll only have $20-ish. $15 for a case. Yeah. $25 to $50. That's ruling out all those super cheap ones that I'm never going to trust nor get. I don't... Why? This is really hard to choose a power supply. Like, really hard. We might just have to go with this bronze. Or was that one? I can't actually find it. Oh, here it is. Oh, is that a silver? Because if this one's rated silver, or is it just a normal power? Either way, I trust EVGA's power supplies fairly well. And is this ATX? I'm assuming it's ATX since the cable's ATX. Ooh. So this would bring us down to $24.17 for a case. 18 cents. Let's open. So minus 29.99. 24. Yeah, I got it right. It's not that hard of math, but still. You should be impressed, because I did math. Not meth. Math. Okay. PC components. Let's see, what can we get here? It's a 120mm fan, so it's likely. 20 plus 4 pin, that's all good. Floppy drive. Serious. Oh. I know I might be... Really? Really? Component? Okay. And then we need a case. Case. Okay. And we're gonna want a micro ATX, I guess. I like micro ATX. Plus that's the size motherboard we got. So let's do that. That case looks horrible. Plus we don't have the budget for that. So let's say 0 to 24.18. Actually, this one doesn't look horrible. That actually looks kind of nice. So clearly, it's either going to have to be this one, which also looks okay, but it looks like it's on sale currently, so I don't know if I want to go with that one. So I like this one. But let's see what size fan it has. A 120mm front intake fan and an 80mm rear fan. Oh, ideal for Intel and AMD systems. Seriously. Oh, who else would they be getting a CPU from? Oh. Suppose there are other companies, but I have, yeah. That's 80mm and that's a 120mm. Clearly, I think you'd want to... So if you do decide to get this build, I'd recommend having the 120mm pulling in, and then the other one pulling out, so you're not sucking in too much dust throughout the rest of the case. Granted, this probably... What? Oh. What's this one? I like this one. Oh, it's just that crappy one I was dissing before. That looks stupid. Yeah, I like this one. Let's go with this. 22.99. That brings us down to a $1.19 left on our budget. What can we get for $1.19? I don't know. Let's see. Can I somehow... I don't want to pay like $80,000 for that GPU. So I'd recommend getting a limited Prime membership for this, and then do whatever else. Now, once again, this is the GPU I'm getting for my personal build, and I've checked my list. It sometimes says it's not for Prime, and other times it says you have to have Prime. So do what you want. And if any of these parts are out of stock, I would just recommend waiting. Find your own parts. If you really want to, like if you want to get a 1050, not non-TI, it's just going to be slightly slower and have slightly less GPU RAM. I believe the TI has 4 gigabytes, oh it says right there, 4 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. And yeah. I think if we went with the 860K, this thing's $100, so we wouldn't even have been able to get all this in. So, alright. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.